Hi guys, now I'm going to be teaching you how to draw comparison model. But firstly, what is a comparison model? Okay, so comparison models are actually bar model that will help you to solve problem sums which consists of two or more items. Okay, two or more items, two or more subject. That is comparative. What do I mean by that? I will show you how a bar model looks like without any context first, and then we will get into the questions later. Okay, so this is your bar model. Okay, this is how a bar model might look like, where A can be a person, A and B can be a person, or A and B can be the number of sweet, the type of sweets, or A and B can be the type of animals that we are comparing. Okay, it all depends on the question. Okay, so now we'll get into the questions. Okay, so Alan collected 7 stamps. Okay, Jensen collected thrice as many stamps as Alan. How many stamps did they have all together? Okay, so first we will need to underline important keywords that will help us solve the problem. In this case, Alan has collected 7 stamps. Okay, Jensen collected thrice as many stamps as Alan. Okay, so now this is an indicator, or this tells you that we are comparing. What are we comparing? The number of stamps Jensen have and the number of stamps Alan have, right? In this case, Jensen collected thrice. So meaning, since Jensen and the word thrice comes first, these two are together. Okay? Thrice as many stamps as Alan, meaning this S is 1. Okay? So when you hear 6 times as many, meaning we are comparing between 6 and 1. Thrice as many, meaning we are comparing 3 and 1. Okay? Twice as many means 2 and 1. So in this case, it's 3 and 1 unit we are comparing. Okay? So we know here, since Jensen and the word thrice comes first, means Jensen is the one that have 3 times the number of stamps. So 3, this will be 3 bars. Okay, so since I say Alan only have 1 unit, so you will draw 1 unit. Okay. So what are the additional words that will help us to solve the problem, which is Alan collected 7 stamps. Okay, so you can put here, this is 7 stamps. So what do you see? Meaning this 1 unit represents 7 stamps, right? So you write here 1 unit is 7 stamps, right? Okay, go back to the question. How many stamps did they have all together? All together means 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 unit, we need to know how many stamps are there, which is 4 unit, right? As we counted, so 4 unit is equals to 4 times 7, because here we'll have 7 also, here we'll have 7 also, here we'll have 7 also. 4 times 7, which is just 28 steps, right? So this is how many stamps Jensen and Alan have all together. Okay, next question. Daniel collected 72 game cards. Okay, he collected 8 times as many cards as John. How many cards did John collect? Okay, now remember, first we will need to underline keywords to help us solve the question. So we know that Daniel collected 72 games. Okay, so Daniel collected 72 games. He collected 8 times as many cards as John. So remember, when I say the word as will tell us we are comparing. So we are comparing now the number of cards Daniel have and the number of cards John have, right? So the word as in this case will be the 1 unit. Okay, and since we know here he refers to Daniel, right? So Daniel is the one that has 8. Okay, so we are comparing 8 and 1 now. Okay, so now we will draw the bar graph or the comparison model. Daniel will have 8. So you will need to draw 8. And then for John, we'll just have 1. Okay, so now we are going to add the additional information to help us solve the question, right? So Daniel collected 72 game cards. So meaning this whole model is 72. And then now we will just need to count how many units does Daniel have, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? We know he have 8 units, which is equivalent to 72 game cards. So 1 unit is how many? Firstly, we need to go back to the question again. How many cards did John collect, right? So where is John? John is this one, which has only 1 unit, right? Only have 1 unit. So by finding what is 1 unit, we will find how many game cards does John have. So you just take 72 divided by 8, right? Which is just 8. Simple, right? So remember to always read the question, underline keywords, find out where are the comparative words, okay, and how to identify the units is for which person or which item. Okay, now the last question. Elsa made 6 times as many huge ice cubes as tiny cubes. Okay, so we have been comparing between 2 people, right? So now we change a bit. We are comparing between 2 items, huge ice cubes and tiny ice cubes. Okay, continue. She made 540 more huge ice cubes than tiny ice cubes. How many ice cubes did she make all together? Okay, so now again we underline. Elsa made 6 times as many huge cubes as tiny cubes. Okay, so remember how I say that the 2 nearest will be together. In this case, the word 6 times and huge ice cube, nearest to each other, right? So meaning the question is referring to the ice cube having 6 units, while the tiny ice cube will only have 1 unit. Okay? Okay. Continue. She made 540 more huge ice cube than tiny ice cube. Okay, now it's time for us to draw the model. Now the subject will be huge ice cube and tiny, right? Again, remember we associate the two nearest ones together. In this case, the 6 times and the huge ice cube. So we need to draw 6 unit or 6 bar. Okay, and then of course the tiny one only have 1 unit. Done. We are done with drawing the comparison model, but then we also will need to put in all the additional information to help us solve the question. In this case, she made 540 more huge ice cubes than tiny ice cubes. 540 more. So you see the comparison model. Okay. Look, this is the additional one for the huge ice cube, right? So meaning this part should be the 540. Then the last question is, how many ice cube did she make all together? So we must find out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We must find out these 7 units is how many ice cubes in total. Okay? So now we count how many units is 540 first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know that these 5 units is 540, in this case, huge ice cube. Right? So now she wants to find out how many did she make all together, meaning here all together how many, right? Both the huge plus the tiny. Okay, so basically you know that 5 units is 540. So 1 unit is just 540 divided by 5. See? So 540 divided by 5, which will give you 108 ice cube. Okay, so meaning this 1 unit is 108. Okay, so now how many units must we find out? The total, right? Which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 units. So 7 units is just 108 times 7, which will give you 756 ice cubes in total. Okay, so this one you will need to do your multiplication table. Okay, so again, to recap everything, first we will need to highlight all the important keywords, and remember the two words that are close to each other will be what they are referring to, like the word tries and Jensen, very close, right? So we know that Jensen is the one that has tries. And as for this question, the word he is referring to Daniel. So Daniel and 8 times is close to each other, right? So it's referring to Daniel having 8 units. And then the last one, 6 times, and huge ice cube is very close to each other, right? So we are referring to the huge ice cube having 6 units. Okay, good.